Howdy all, I'm Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to the finale of Skeleton Crew, the show that only childish adults watch and the rest of the world ignores because we have hard receipts for that. I've been talking about it. Nobody watches this show except for me to tell you how bad it is. And then there's a bunch of clapping Stan Seals who are like, I'm Skeleton Crew, yay, am again. We'll get into them later, but right now we have made it 6 weeks because it was a double episode premiere. 6 weeks of complete and total garbage. Bad characters, bad story, bad writing, mid-acting, crap special effects, a show that says Star Wars in the title, but you couldn't find Star Wars if you stepped in it, wiped it on your own foot, and then kept walking around the house, tracking it everywhere. You couldn't find Star Wars if you tried in this. And I'm sorry, X-Wings flying around, a stubby lightsaber, and a little bit of fake forcery doesn't count. This show is complete and total Disney Star Wars to the T. Failure. So here we go. We're going to go through this as quickly as possible because there really isn't much to talk about in the 5 minutes of show there actually is. Because remember, there's at least a minute and a half to 2 minutes opening credits, and then there was an extended ending credits when it was over that went on for at least 5 minutes. So there's really only about, in the 38-minute episode, 33, maybe 34 minutes of content. And it's boring, dumb content, really stupid. One of the hallmarks of today's episode is the fact that they forget the character work they did in the previous episode. Jude Law's character is an evil man who will murder somebody helpless point blank. Yet in this episode, he can't seem to remember that's the kind of guy he is. Anyway, let's get started. We pick up exactly where he left off with what I thought was Jude Law menacingly walking towards them with an ignited lightsaber. But no, in Disney Star Wars, you ignite lightsabers to do bows and introduce yourself as an emissary to keep up the joke, to keep up the trick. Why? Why end it on a menacing note only to now say, oh, he's going to continue the ruse? He continues the ruse, tells everybody that the kids are in trouble, and if you don't want them to be in trouble, they got to stay on lockdown until my ship comes down and we can do our business with the supervisor and get all the monies. The parents fall for it because they're dumb, and they continue to be dumb the entire episode. Parents fall for it. Everybody has to go home, but Jude Law wants to go see the supervisor so he can bring down the ship through the barrier. And he decides to have Fern go with him because Fern's the most important person in the room. Fern's go with him, and then, of course, Fern's mom's going to go. So you're going to have this character work that they've spent, they haven't spent any episodes at all really developing their relationship to the point where there are conversations where Fern tries to convince her mom to do the right thing. It's kind of meaningless because there's been no work towards their real butting heads of, oh, be safe. Oh, I want to be free. That doesn't exist. But we'll get there. So let's see. Everybody gets split up. Floppy-haired Win and his very goofy, dumbass dad go home and eat dinner that gets nuked in a little bubble. Reheating food. Star Wars has microwaves now, I guess, and whatever. So, and he talks about, he went on an adventure, aren't you glad to be home? And Win doesn't want to say anything because the droids are watching and they'll tell Jude Law. We don't see KB until later. We hear Neil over the intercom, that the little walkie-talkies they have. He's being watched too, and we know that Fern is with Jude Law going up to see the supervisor with her mom. So Jude Law and mom go up. Jude Law, mom, and Fern go up there, and what I love is the stands were busy trying to pretend that there was some great mystery surrounding the supervisor. He's gonna be this. He's gonna be that. No, guess what? The supervisor, it's just a droid. And there was no mystery because apparently everybody who's in charge on this planet knows it was a droid. So instead of having Fern's mom be surprised that their entire world is run by a droid, she knows. She knows what thrilling and great writing this is. Oh, wow. So the mystery of who is the supervisor was nothing. It's a droid and everybody knew it. So Jude Law tries to carry on the ruse. Let's cut to the chase. The droid sniffs him out when he asks him a question after he introduced himself as both a Jedi and an emissary. And he says, the last time we heard from the Republic, it said that the Jedi were all traitors. So are you a traitor or are you lying about being an emissary? Which one are you? And then Fern goes, he's neither, he's bad. And the droid boss goes, yes, okay, stunner droids, camerahead droids, get him. Except Jude Law suddenly has lightsaber deflecting skills, even though we're going to learn a little bit later that his teaching is nil to nothing in the Force, but he still manages to wildly deflect blaster bolts, because remember, this is Disney Star Wars based on Dave Filoni Force rules, where if you try hard enough, you too can be a Force-sensitive Force user, and you can do all the cool shit that a Jedi does. Anyway, so he's going to take out all the droids, and he's going to turn around, and he's going to stab the supervisor in its sensor. So apparently, this giant hulking thing is vulnerable immediately in the sensor. The supervisor bites it. The entire planet shuts down. And by entire planet, I mean the city surrounding the supervisor's spire. Apparently, the rest of the planet completely uninhabited. This planet that they've been living on for easily at this point, probably 40, 50, 60 years in a highly technological society, they just live in their city, doing their great work. And the great work is making money, or making fake money. Because remember, it's based on nothing. They just make the credits based on no actual currency, no actual hard minerals to say, oh, it's worth something because this mineral, this ore backs it up. Once again, people who don't understand economics, who only know bullshit inflation economics, trying to tell you that this is legitimate when it's not, because they don't tell you anything. Remember last week I said, maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out that the credits are based on an ore they're making them from. No, they tell you nothing because this is Disney Star Wars. They can't be bothered to even fill in the blanks of their own retarded lore. They leave it to the stands, who do an even worse job because they don't know a damn thing about Star Wars. Anyway, so now Jude Law has control of everything. He manages to threaten Fern and Fern's mom until he gets her to give him the code that will let the pirate ship come down. So the pirate ship's going to come down. Urkel's in command. He's going to fly it down. The pirates are going to start ransacking everything because the power's out. Nothing's working. And there's going to be a problem with this later. The power is out, okay? The power's out, and well, all right, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it because it won't make sense, but it has to make sense because Neil's got to be a hero. Anyway, so now that everything is offline, Wynn can tell his dad that Jude Law's a pirate, just as everything goes to hell. Oh, and while the lights are going out, guess what happens? Guess what happens? They have to have a shot again of Neil in the freaking bathtub. You goddamn creepy weirdo PDF file sons of bitches. Once, it was bad. Twice, you know exactly what the hell you're doing. It's not cute. It's to feed the degenerate weirdos who watch this show and say, Neil, oh my God, look at he's so cute. Gotta touch him, gotta protect him. Those freaking weirdos on social media. That's who that's for. And right as they're standing there, Dad's trying to get the car to work, even though it's all automated by the supervisor, which doesn't make sense. How can a car that is independent from anything else be powered by everything? They have no idea what they're doing here. None whatsoever. Right. So then suddenly here comes KB with two moms and Neil on their hover bikes saying, well, our hover bikes still work. How do the hover bikes still work and the car, which is seemingly powered by a source built into the vehicle, not work? Ask questions. Because Disney Star Wars has no answers, and the stands will just say, shut up, it's a kid's show. So they're going to go off, and Wynn's dad is going to be like, where are you going? I'm the adult here. And yeah, because guess what? The kids are going to tell the adults what to do for the rest of the episode. So he's going to stop, and we're going to see the punk kid way back from episode 1 that was giving Fern grief. He's going to steal his bike. So suddenly here comes Finn's floppy-haired Wynn's dad. Is going to come up behind them on the speeder bike, and you realize what he did. He threw that kid off the bike and took it. Big black man took a white boy's hover bike. Yes, Disney did it. Disney had a black man beat up a white kid and take his bike. Okay? They did that. Right. So now they're going to be speeding around, dodging blaster shots because they have to get to the Onyx Cinder. That's the ship's name. They have to get to the Onyx Cinder because the idea is this. They need to get help. They need to get help because the X-Wings and Owl Lady Alien are the real good guys. But they have to get through the barrier, and the Onyx Cinder is the only thing on the planet that has the code to get through the barrier. So they have to get to the ship. So we have a long, drawn-out, stupid chase where at one point Neil falls off his bike because they are in a building, and the building gets hit by blaster fire. So now Neil, he's going to say, I'm going to cover you guys. You go. And I'm asking myself, what the hell is stubby-legged, trunk-faced retard with no real story going to freaking do to cover? Oh, but it's going to relate back to his story, his day of glory when all the kids were treated like adults on that stupid backwards planet. Get back to in a second because now everybody's keeping going this and that. They get to the Onyx Cinder. Problem is, it's got docking clamps on it. Can't get out without the power. Right. So for the first time, Wynn's dad decides to go, hey, I'll take control for a second instead of being told what to do by the kids for the past 10 minutes. I am a level 7 security supervisor guy, analyst. I can deal with the power. I know what to do. So the family Wynn is now has to go to the supervisor's tower. Okay? Got to go to the supervisor's tower and get the power back on. Meanwhile, during all this, there's been a lot of back and forth between Jude Law, Fern, and Fern's mom about what's with the world. You're not going to have there's nothing we need to trust, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Really bad monologue and dialogue, all surrounding the fact that Fern is trying to tell her mom, it's okay to let the barrier down. Yes, the galaxy's scary, filled with bad people like Jude Law, but guess what, Mom? Here's the heart of the story, everybody. There are good people out there, too. And you have to listen to me because I'm a 10-year-old girl. Yes. So they have this whole thing where her mom doesn't trust her, but they haven't done anything to actually create a storyline around her mom not trusting her. I know. Brilliant. Floppy hair Wynn comes up in the turbo lift, and then there's Jude Law. He's like, oh, hi, Wynn. Now, Wynn tries to bluff it and keep his attention while Dad sneaks in to hit the power switches. Here's the problem, though. And now here's this whole problem with Jude Law in general that I mentioned about how they have forgotten the character work what limited character work they did in the previous episode. Jude Law's a murderer. He killed Wolfman Jack point blank last episode and didn't even blink. He has no problem killing people, yet he says this entire episode, I don't want to kill anybody, I just want to make you all slaves so you can work for me. This guy's a murderer. Fern's mom, and Wynn in this situation, they are expendable. They don't serve a purpose. It's not like he's holding them hostage anymore. It's not like they need to fake out the supervisor anymore. They are expendable. Why doesn't he kill them? He threatens them with lightsabers after he had to get what he wants. Once he has everything he wants, the code has been given to the ship. It's through the barrier. He knows how it works. He says, oh, here it is, barrier override. In fact, wait a minute, I just realized she doesn't actually tell him. He finds it himself. So Fern's mom and Fern and now Wynn in this situation are completely useless. They serve no purpose. And this guy is a murderer. Why doesn't he kill them? They already showed us last episode he has no problem killing somebody that's in his way. But suddenly, he can't kill anybody. It's not as though he's having a crisis of conscience or anything. He just simply doesn't do it because he's not the same character he was last episode. Because these writers and John Watts are idiots. They cannot tell a coherent narrative at all. And I know I praised the show for in the beginning having a narrative that kept going. No, they lost that narrative a long time ago because it's inconsistent writing, inconsistent characters, and focusing around stupid bullshit. Right. So, Jude Law doesn't kill anybody. He threatens them. He puts them around the forest. He shoots them but doesn't hit them. And then while Wynn and Fern are telling some cockamamie story that he knows is bullshit, but he stands there smiling like an idiot going, really? While floppy-haired Wynn's dad shuts everything down so KB can take off. So while KB's trying to get away, you know what happens? Neil happens. Neil, his cover fire, is the turbo laser that he remembered the previous planet had. And he fires a couple of shots and gets the attention of the big-ass pirate ship before it gets blows up. Now, first of all, how does the turbo laser have power if everything was shut down when the supervisor was destroyed? How? No, it doesn't have power. That's not the rules they have set up on At-Atten. At-Atten, when the supervisor is down, nothing has power, but the turbo laser does. And Neil magically knows how to use it because he just does. And then he survives by running away on his stubby little legs. KB takes off, and Jude Law tells him to shoot her down. She gets up through the barrier. She sends out a message. Hey, Owl Lady Alien, do you hear me? She goes, yes, oh, my little darling child, are you okay? No, Jude Law's bad, just like you told me. There are pirates on our planet in At-Atten. I'm sending you the coordinates. Send help. Owl Lady says, don't worry, the New Republic are the bestest pirate busters out there. She actually says pirate busters. Pirate busters. I ain't afraid of no pirate. I guess they're afraid of good writing in this show. And she says, don't worry, the New Republic will be there in 2 flaps. So once again, Disney Star Wars will fail to understand that hyperspace travel is not fast travel. It's not instantaneous. It takes time. But don't worry, the X-Wings are on the way. But KB's going to get shot. And we've witnessed at this point that she has partially repaired Nick Frost's droid, whose head was severed by a lightsaber. Yeah, seared circuits. But she fixed him so he can help her pilot the ship. So there's going to be a crash landing moment. Everybody thinks KB's going to be dead. Of course she's not. And then Jude Law, he's very upset because then he gives a monologue about there's nobody good in the universe. The universe takes everything from you. When I was a kid, I just wanted to survive from day to day. And then a Jedi found me. She was on the run, filthy as I was, and she tried to teach me the Force. Said I had potential, but then I watched her get killed right in front of me when they hunted her down. There's his backstory, everybody. Listen. I wanted him to be an Order 66 survivor. I really did, because that would have been a glorious rant. But he's not. He's just a waif who, an on-the-run Jedi, post-Order 66, taught him a couple of things. That's it. That's his backstory. Fascinating. And there are idiots out there, oh, they were so clever last week to make you think that you were going to get his backstory, but no, it's just showing that he's a bad dude. I hate stands with the most powerful, rising nuclear passion I can find in my burning nerd heart. Right. So, and everybody's crying, and then we get a big fight to try and shut down the barrier completely, where Fern's begging her mom not to be afraid, this and that. Floppy-haired Wynn's dad he grows a pair and actually has a fight with Jude Law. And then there's force pulling and tug of wars where floppy-haired Wynn gets the lightsaber and Jude Law's trying to yank it from him, and then Fern's there and they're playing a tug of war, and while he's wrestling with the dad, and then he gives up on the kids and he keeps force yoinking his hand from getting the switch until Fern goes, Mom, please help him. So then she helps him and they shut it down and the barrier is done. So now the barrier is down And guess what? That's kind of it. Jude Law just gives up because here come the X-Wings. X-Wings fly in with a couple of B-Wings, and they have to say, lock S-foils in attack position so that the stands can go, they said the thing! They said the thing! They said the thing! They said the phone! I love it! It feels Star Wars, isn't it, everybody? The X-Wings come in, blast the pirates to shit with a couple of B-Wings, like I said, and the pirate Urkel goes down with the ship, and Jude Law just sits there stunned, and everybody leaves. And that's kind of it, because they suddenly magically fast travel to where KB landed instantly, as a Corvette swoops in, and then KB's alive, of course, and then Jude Law was just left standing in the supervisor's tower watching stuff. We don't know what happened to him. Wynn sees some X-Wings fly by, and his dad says, come on, son, the adventure's over, let's go home. And then the show's over. That's it. It just ends without telling us anything else of what happens post this incident. What happened to Jude Law? What happened to the kids? What happened to Ad Atten? No, that's it. It's over. The worst rated Disney Star Wars TV show in history. And we do not want to hear it's just a kid's show. That is the ultimate cop-out. Kids shows for decades were written intelligently and had actual meaning behind them. This show had no meaning. There is no meaning to the show. There was no lesson learned, no moral. The lesson learned was there are still good people out in the galaxy. That's it. And maybe you too can be a hero if you want to be, without any real character development. This is ridiculous. A show made for childish adults who also happen to be PDF files and want to see a little blue alien kid in a bubble bath. It's over. It's done. I'm glad. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more reviews later on other stuff. Thank you all for coming. See you next time. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.